The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
Hey, what's good, y'all? It's your boy E-Buck, the Nighthawk, in the building. And this, of course, is the show that I call Big Buck Sports Report, where we talk all things sports this evening. Good evening, everyone. Hope you are having a great week so far, and you are looking forward to the sports that are occurring not only tonight, but throughout the entire weekend. Of course, this weekend, where football will be in full effect starting tomorrow night with the first game of the NFL season. We'll get into that in a little bit. In the meanwhile, we're going to start the talk out with a little talk of baseball. Right now, we are nearing the playoff push in MLB. And for the most part, the usual suspects are definitely taking form in terms of playoffs. We definitely should see the Dodgers and the Braves, obviously, in the playoffs. It does appear that somehow, some way, Minnesota is going to win the Central and arguably the worst baseball division of them all. Basically, they're going to be the only team above 500, so it's that. In the AL East, you got an interesting little battle going on between Baltimore and Tampa Bay, where Baltimore is ahead of them, but only by 3.5 games, starting to come back down to the pack. So don't be surprised if Tampa Bay may pull it out there in the East. But the biggest race right now, I would think, is the American League West, where right now you have Houston, Seattle, and Texas within 2 games of each other for that NL West title. And then, of course, you got all the big promotions that go on in terms of playoffs with the wild card spot. You got teams like Texas, you got teams like Cincinnati in the National League, Chicago Cubs, Arizona vying for those playoff spots that are not the division, but the wild card. So definitely got that going on. The hottest team right now, definitely those Atlanta Braves. They looking like world beaters right now. On pace to win 105 games plus. It's a very good possibility that we may see them again in the series, and they may be the world champions. So, baseball is not predictable like that. So we shall see. We shall see. In the meanwhile, we got the WNBA going on as well. It's basically the last week of the season for the WNBA. You got 2 teams that have won 30-plus games for the first time ever. Keep in mind the 40-game season in the WNBA. And we got about 2 more games to go for most teams. You got, of course, the Aces and the Liberty both had 30-plus wins, definitely in the playoffs. Last night, you had team clinch the playoff bid in the WNBA. That team is the Washington Mystics. There's like 3 more playoff spots available with 2 games to go. So we will definitely see who ends up making it from that point. Again, I still feel like it's the Aces and the Liberty that are the teams to beat, and we shall see how that goes. Playoff basketball for the WNBA starts September 12th. Looking forward to previewing that for you guys next week. Now, all that being said, we are going to skip right to the big stuff. There are 2 big sports stories this week in the world of sports right now. One we're going to talk about a little bit later. Right now, we're going to talk about the second one. That is the start of the NFL season. To kick that off, we are doing an NFL preview, and we're doing that in the show, within the show, as we're calling it. That would be the good old Guru football session with my guy Hugh Lee. Without further ado, we give you NFL 2023 preview with the Guru and myself in the Guru's football session. What's going on, y'all? As you know, this is the show within the show. This is the Guru Sports Perspective, the Guru Sports Session, and of course, there is Guru himself, Hugh Lee. And of course, this week is our football preview. NFL style, so we are going to break down the NFL to y'all. What teams you think going to do some things, what teams you think ain't going to handle no business, who we think going to make it to them playoffs, and most importantly, picking for the Super Bowl champion and that MVP. So without further ado, he is going to get it started. I'm going to start you off on the NFC first, Hugh. NFC East. We got Philly, Dallas, Giants, and Washington. Who you got doing what? What's up?
I got Philly cooking and it up was hard to go back to back. Never really seen no back to back people on there. So back to backs, man, that's rare. But not in that division. I still had the Eagles pulling it out, man. I still think they're gonna have a good record, man. I'm gonna give them, since it's 17 games, rather than 13-4 this year, I'm gonna give them a 12-5. That's gonna be my record for the Eagles, 12-5 this year.
All right. I got Eagles going 14-3 myself. Yeah, I understand that it's gonna be tougher in their division this year, but they got a better team than last year, plain and simple. I think they get it done.
I definitely feel like they could exactly do that, lose 3 games, but then I'm still just looking at it like I'm not really that sure, man. It's hard, man. You know, they grinding, they were the most healthiest, but it's hard not only to win the division, but to win the division and be healthy like they were. That's why they went to the Super Bowl, because they was one of the most healthiest teams, man. I still feel like if Jalen Hurts was just a little bit healthier before they went to the Super Bowl, that it possibly could have been a different outcome. But then, you know, I can't dwell on the past. And do you want me to tell you who else I think is going to make the playoffs out of there? Because I still have 2 more teams that might possibly go out that division again this year. Because remember, last year, they had the 3 teams that came out of their division.
All right, well, talk to us about Dallas. What you think about Dallas this year?
Dallas, I think they're going to be pretty good on defense, man. Funny thing is, offense not going to be bad neither. They got my man Brandon Cooks. I still really feel like he just a silent assassin. He don't really say much. He don't have too much to say, man. He burn you. He burned defenses, and all he do is score a touchdown, man. I was just surprised at how he's been passed around the league, you know, like he was some medicinal marijuana, but, you know, we ain't going to talk about that. But him being in Dallas would probably be a good thing for him and CeeDee Lamb. But I still look like it, they still might go like 11-5, you know, because I still feel like they got some growing pains. And they could easily go a 12-5 or 13-4, but it depends on what Dak's going to do. Is he going to mature, and is he going to adjust to making all those bad decisions that he made? I'm not sure, man. I got them going 11-5.
All right, for Dallas, I went with 11-6 for Dallas as well.
So sorry, I'm gonna go.
I think they are slightly better this year than last year. Unfortunately, I think we're gonna see the same result. I think they make the playoffs. I think first round they get booed.
Yeah,
all right,
because
Giants, Commanders, any talk of those 2 teams?
Giants, I think they're going to take a little step back, even though they're an improved team. I know they haven't really been talked about as much in New York, and they feel like they've been disrespected because, you know, all the publicity the Jets have been in. But I still think they're going to end up being like a game shy of making the playoffs. I got them going 9-8 this year.
All right. I got that exact same record for them as well. And, of course, the Commanders.
I'm actually going to surprise you with the Commanders. I actually have them as a dark horse. I'm going to go 10-6 with them, and they may or may not still make the playoffs. I just wanted to switch it up on you, E, because I wanted to see that face you made right there. Thank you, sir.
10-6 or 10-7. Remember, 17-game season here.
10-7.
Commanders, 10 wins. They do play the division. So basically what you're telling me, Hugh, they're going to beat Dallas, Giants, Philly, at least. All right, let me chime in right quick, y'all, for a minute. We will get back to that, of course, momentarily. A couple of quick notes that I got at Sports Guru has put out here. Bosa got his bag today. That would be Nick Bosa, the defensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers, signing an extension, making him the highest paid defensive player in NFL history with a 5-year deal. That's going to average about $34 million. Not bad at all. It is expected also that quarterback Joe Burrow from the Cincinnati Bengals will be signing his deal, his extension sometime before the end of the week, hopefully. We expect that to probably make him the highest paid player in the NFL. We also have a couple more comments from the guru. Looks like my dark horse team in college, he's saying Kansas State. Interesting take on that there. We'll talk a little college afterwards. Do you think if Travis Kelce and Chris Jones don't play on Thursday, the Chiefs will be on upset alert? I think they are already on upset alert because of the health of Travis Kelce. I will get into that when we get done here with the preview. We definitely will clean up some odds and ends. But of course, if you guys have any questions, any comments that you want to throw on in regards to anything in the preview or just in general, we can always pause and answer that question or answer it afterwards within the Guru Sports section. So feel free to comment. We are here for you. All right, back to the show within the show, the Guru's Football Station. He's one out of all three of them.
Hey, don't get me wrong. They beat Philly once last year. You know what I'm saying? They had their squad too, where they beat Philly. You know, people looked at it like it was a hiccup, but that defense for real. And now they got Forbes. They already had Jahan Dotson, and then they got Terry McLaurin over there, man. Receivers is not getting the respect that they deserve, and I know they'd rather keep it that way. Getting Eric Bieniemy over there, man. You know, we heard all the crazy stuff that was going on over here there with him and Coach Ron Rivera, but I think that they're going to appreciate him even more now because I believe now, rather than keeping that stuff in-house, I think they're going to be okay, man. I think that he won the players over, man. Hell, the preseason is the preseason, but you can definitely see they're a little bit more explosive and they're more aggressive now, too, when it comes to their offense.
Bottom line, I got Washington 4-13. I think they may win another game beyond that if the running game is up to snuff, because that's how they're going to have to beat teams. Quarterback play with the Commanders, not so much. That being said, if they manage to have a decent offense, I definitely see a scenario where, okay, they may get 5-6 wins, definitely get Ron Rivera fired, and you already got the person in-house to take his job with the enemy. So that's what I'm seeing here.
And that's what I'm afraid of, too. Yeah, I gave it that prediction, and I wanted to see the look on your face, but then we don't really still know about Sam Howell, man. He's still a mystery.
Unknown on that one. Okay, that being said, let's move on to the NFC Central, home of my Detroit Lions. We got the Lions, Minnesota, Chicago, Green Bay. What you got going on in that division, Hugh?
Check this out, E. I actually have the Detroit Lions going 12-5 this year.
You said
I think Minnesota 12-5.
So you say the Detroit Lions, the team that's had the worst record in the last decade in the NFL, is going to go 12-5, and that record will win them the division?
Look at the shirt I'm wearing. What color is it, baby? Don't get it twisted.
Well, as for me and my family.
Oh, I see what you're drinking over there. What color is that cup?
That Kool-Aid pretty good right now. I can't lie. Got a nice little taste to it. I think I'm going to drink some more Kool-Aid myself.
I've definitely been drinking it because, man, the defense really went up the notch, man. We won the draft, man. A lot of people hate that we got the running back in the first round, and I told my little nephew, I said, listen, Deanie, don't get it twisted. I said, please go back and look at some of this man tape. I said, go back and look at his Georgia Tech tape and go back and look at this year when he played in Alabama. And my nephew saw that man, and he couldn't wait for him to get on the field. And I just still feel like the defense, especially the cornerback play, thank you for getting rid of Jeff Okudah. I had faith in the gentleman at first, man, and now I got to sit on the show and I got to eat that crow, and it don't taste good at all. But when you got that team and the nucleus around it now, man, and that cornerback play now, they got the edge rushers. The one thing I look at on defense, man, I'm a little nervous about. We're gonna talk about that later. I'm gonna keep my lips sealed on that, but I still got us being 12-5. And who do you have next, E?
Well, I'm lockstep with you on that one. I picked the Lions to go 12-5 as well. I'm drinking my blue Kool-Aid, and I'm liking it. That being said, people, Thursday's prediction will get you in a little bit. Whatever happens Thursday, chill out, y'all. Chill out. Okay.
If we lose one game.
Minnesota, do you think they are going to have another good season?
Yes, I do. Let me get in on you, E. Let me get the camera in a little bit closer, though. Okay, you see me? You see me, E?
Yeah,
Wild card. Wild card team. They go
wild card. Okay, so that being said, what type of record do you think they're looking at?
10-7.
Again, Hugh, right on the money. I got 10-7 as well. I say they right there. They may or may not make that wild card with that 10-7, but I definitely put them right there. I think they definitely go down to not remember. Out of all the teams last year in the playoffs, they had the most one possession wins of any of those teams. I think they lose some of them games this year. Remember, one of those wins that they had was against my Detroit Lions on that long field goal. Do you remember that?
Forbes. They already had Jahan Dotson, and then they got Terry McLaurin over there, man. They 11-6. You don't really need too much, even to win that division. How bad it was last year.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to be a bad division again this year. Bottom line, Sean Payton not walking back through that door. If he was, sorry about that, y'all. It's a little glitch that happened there. Basically, we were doing the Central Division for NFC. We pretty much both picked the Lions to win that division, Minnesota second, and so on and so forth. I think we are on the NFC South now, and that's where we're at in this part of the conversation. Jeff Okudah, trash. Y'all see my comment. I said, back to the thing. Their coach right now, I most definitely would be picking them without a shadow of a doubt. That being said, yes, I also do have the Saints winning that division. However, I'm not quite as optimistic as you. I'm giving them 10-7, but I think that's all it's going to take. So I do believe most of their wins will be against their division rivals. So that is going to be key. That being said, we got Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Carolina. Who do you think finishes second in that division?
Possibly Atlanta. Possibly. I just don't really have no hope for the Bucks. Hell, my man's Mike Evans might not even be back this year neither. So I would really be surprised if Atlanta is not second in that division this year, because I still feel like the Panthers gonna have some up and down growing pains too with Bryce Young over there.
Now, granted, I'm not big on their offensive line in Carolina, but I think they got enough to make some improvements. I do believe I'm going with Carolina to be the number 2 team in that division. However, I still only have them going 5-12 because I pretty much think the rest of them is pretty much in that same boat. I actually gave Tampa Bay 6-11, but I can see me reneging on that now and going back to 5-12. And Atlanta, I think they got somewhere between 4 and 5 wins. Keep in mind, there's a lot of growing pains on all those squads right now. And when we're looking at a lot of those quarterbacks that might be coming out this year, a lot of them will probably end up in that division.
Oh, absolutely.
It's definitely looking that way as far as that. We don't even need to talk about it. Bottom line, New Orleans make the playoffs. I think they won and done. I don't think they play a factor in any of it. So we can just move on to the NFC West, where we got, of course, San Francisco, Seattle, the Rams, and Arizona. I think I know, but who you got winning this division, Hugh?
I got San Fran winning this division, going 12-5. And the funny thing is, most of the other teams, man, I have going like a 5-12 type season, man. I don't really have no faith in the Rams. Seattle, I can have them as a wild card team or a hopeful. I still say they can win like a 10-7 type season, but the rest of them going to be on the bottom, and they're going to be like 5-12, maybe 6-11. But yeah, them the two teams that I feel like if anybody comes out that division, it'll be San Fran, and then Seattle may make the playoffs.
Bottom line is, I went with myself, but I only gave them 12-5. I think people know about Brock Purdy now. He's not going to surprise people like he did last year. I think it's going to be a couple of those teams that they play, and Brock going to have to put his work in, and I don't think that's always going to work out for him. That being said, there's so much talent on the offensive end of that team to go with that great defense that they have. I'm hard-pressed to see them not just whoop up on their division and get a few good wins, because they do play some of the worst teams in the league as well. The one key, again, for the 49ers is that quarterback play. Because, of course, if Purdy's not up to snuff, that leaves them with Sam Darnold. And he's had moments in the NFL, but not to where I would be comfortable having to have him as the starting quarterback. So don't be surprised if we get into week 5 and week 6 and we get to hear that word trade jump off. Because, as in the past, 49ers have not been afraid to make trades when the trade deadline come up, and they may need to. As far as the worst team in that division, not only are the worst team, I think they're going to be the worst team in football this year. That would be the Arizona Cardinals. It don't even seem to matter when the little man come back, because I think outside of him playing extraordinarily well and somehow finding a way to win those last 6 or 7 games for the Cardinals, I think he's on his way out. I think that's definitely going to be the job of Derek May or Caleb Williams next year, outright. I think they start over after this. Plain and simple.
It's sad but true too. I just don't see him doing anything right now. I would be surprised.
Kyler Murray still like 27, 28. That baseball offer still available, Kyler. I think I'd take it if I was you.
I'd be surprised if they win 5 games this year, but I think they're doing it for a reason, though. Willing and dealing all the players they have. I don't think that they feel like it's a chance for them, and I feel like they tanking. For the number 1 overall draft pick, and we all know who that is. Caleb.
Right. Bottom line is there's another team you're gonna mention, but I think it's basically gonna be between those 2 teams and the Buccaneers as to who's gonna end up with Caleb at this point. Especially if early on is real bad. We'll talk about them in a minute. But anyway, that is it for the NFC. We are now gonna move on to the AFC. All right. We might as well get into it, Hugh. Everybody's saying it's going to be the toughest division in all of NFL this season, that's the AFC East. You got Buffalo, the Jets, Miami, and New England. Who you got?
I got the Bills, of course, coming out of that division, and I have it like 11-6 record.
All right.
I know people probably look at me like, why it's not 12-5, 13-4. I just feel like it's just going to be some setbacks, man. Like we said, we're not saying they're not going to be great. There's going to be some close games that they might lose. But I just feel like if a man's play, he got to play, and he got to play, with, a sense of urgency, and don't play so reckless. That's been his problem right now. Josh Allen's a great quarterback, but he got to play within himself, man. Sometimes he feel like his arm's so strong that he could thread the needle and do certain things that you won't see other people do. And when you get that gunslinger mentality, that's where you get that little Brett Favre, interceptions from. And I just feel like he's going to try that. I just hope that it don't blow up in his face, because if he start making bad decisions, it could possibly make him lose his teammate, because him and Stephon Diggs haven't been seeing eye to eye as of late. But I still feel like they'll be 11-6 in that division, and I think that they could pull off that division with that record.
Well, let's see. I think I actually also gave him 11-6, mainly because of that division. It's going to be tough to get wins in that division this year because most of the teams in that division is pretty much on equal ground with one another. There's not much to learn one from another. So I can see a lot of those inter conference games coming down to the last second field goal to touchdown, at which case Allen is going to have to not revert back to the old bad habits because part of him does feel like he's Brett Favre. Part of him thinks he's Michael Vick. At times, he is a little bit of both. But in order to get where they need to go, he's going to have to use the proper set of understanding in order to make it work. Because again, I do believe if early on it ain't looking good, yeah, it's going to definitely be some sniping and crying over there in Buffalo. And I do have them winning the division only because the team I think that will finish second, the Miami Dolphins, I don't wish it upon him. I pray that I'm wrong, but I think at some point that concussion issue with Tua will come up again. All right, I'm going to actually pause it right here, y'all, because I want to acknowledge our good friend, Road to Stardom, coming into the building. What's going on, Road? Thank you for checking in. We appreciate you always. And for those of you who have been trying to find my good friend, Road to Stardom, and her radio show, I actually have some better information for you this week. Check this out, Road. If you want to find the Road to Stardom pod show, there's a variety of different ways you can do it. First and foremost, you can go to her IG page where you can find that. Hold on. Let me actually move the comment so you guys can see that a bit clearer. Stand by. There we go. And you can find Ro on IG. Note that there is the link right there at the bottom to the Road to Stardom merchandise.com. Please check that out also. You also, my friends, can go to her Facebook page where you will find this particular public group that you can join, and we would appreciate you doing so and following Road to Stardom on the Facebook. You can also go to Blog Talk Radio where you can find Road to Stardom Radio there. That is what that link will look like on the Blog Talk Radio. And I actually found her on this thing called Player FM, where you can find her pod show, The Road to Stardom Radio. I was checking out the Saturday Night Indie Mix. There's some very good artists that I was not familiar with, bro, that I found. Thank you very much for that. One of them is an artist named Algebra. I've been checking that out for a good part of the evening. I really enjoyed her music. This is why we have shows like this, to focus on artists that don't get regular radio play like that. So we appreciate Rose doing her show as she has for the past 13 years. And of course, again, as I said, if you want to get some of that merchandise, you can go to Road to Stardom merchandise there. You see she has the code for you to use, and then check it out. There are shirts and hats and coffee mugs and things of that nature that you can buy to help support her and her efforts to support indie music. So please look out for my girl, Road to Stardom. Ms. Simmons, we appreciate you at the Nighthawk Network as always. Thank you for checking in and being an integral part of what we do here by supporting us as you often do, my friend. Thank you very much for that. We will continue to advertise for you as well here on the network. With that being said, let us get back to the Google Sports session. I believe Hugh is about to break down some of the AFC teams. I believe we are there now.
I agree, man. Scary part about it is the fact that he's going to be great. I didn't like a lot of the stuff that happened with players, joking around about him and his livelihood. We know that he was very small as a quarterback, and he bulked up to try to take the hits, but at the same time, he was smart. He's been taking judo classes and doing what it takes for him to basically be able to slide better for the concussion protocol. We know, and we should take that serious as people who watch the sport and the people who play it. I just didn't like how Ryan Clark came about and tried to make a joke of it and basically was being disrespectful to him on TV. But at the end of the day, man, it's about not focusing on him and focusing on that team. And if he could play anywhere near as good as he did last year, and be careful when it comes to sliding and not trying to be playing hero ball, yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Them coming, being the second best team in that division.
This is the team that
I definitely feel like they're.
Oh, my bad, Hugh. Finish your thought, Hugh.
I think their record will be close to, or if not, I think that they'll be like 10-6 in the division.
All right.
That's the record I would.
I gave them 10-7. I also gave the Jets 10-7. We'll get to them in a second. But again, I gave them 10-7 because I do feel like at some point in the season they are again going to be without Tua. And I would definitely say if in these first few games, if that happens to him again, I pray that it doesn't. That we got to shut him down. There is no okay. Give him a couple weeks. If it happens again, especially early on in the season, that's got to be it for him.
Yep.
That being said, I think if any team in the division ends up trade at the trade deadline, it would be the Dolphins.
I definitely was disappointed too because I felt like that'd have been a good team for Jonathan Taylor to go to, but that's another day, another topic. But yeah, I still feel like after those two teams, like we said, Buffalo and Dolphins, I have the Jets having like maybe a tie record, like a 10-7, and then I still feel like New England to be on the bottom of that totem pole, and I still feel like they'll be 7-9 with some question marks on Bill Belichick's job in his career now with New England, because they haven't been seeing eye to eye him and Mr. Krafts, and it's all been about money. Belichick saying, "Oh man, we was like the 27th as far as money being paid to players," and then Mr. Kraft came up and said, "Hey, if you want a guy, you can get the guy. It ain't like I don't have the money to get him. You want them, go after them." So I was like, well, man, you start to see the disconnect between them two, and it was pretty interesting to see most of that happen this off season as well.
Okay, I know everybody been hyping up them Jets. Again, I got them going 10-7. I got them not making the playoffs. I'm not as optimistic as some of the talking heads and all that talk of them going to Super Bowl. I think you're expecting too much out of them. Granted, last year they did not have great quarterback play and still almost made the playoffs. But I think they still going to be slightly out the bird because the AFC is such a strong conference this year. And it's going to take a little bit more to make it happen. Plus, I'm not overly sold on that offensive line right now, considering the first 6 games of the season for the Jets, where they play teams like the Giants and the Cowboys and the Patriots, I believe. I think they're going to have a time of it early on. And I think that's what's going to cost them that trip to the playoffs. As far as New England goes, I'm not quite as optimistic as you, my friend. I got them going 5-12. And it's not because of coach. Belichick is obviously one of the best, if not the best, NFL coach of all time. It's the personnel. I don't think the personnel is good enough to overcome a very strong AFC East in addition to a strong AFC division. And a lot of their games is in that division. So you're going to have a hard time pulling off more than 5 wins.
I definitely wouldn't disagree at this point because when you're thinking that they had some of the biggest cap space and they didn't make any splashes. They didn't, look at it like it was an urgency. It was no sense of urgency with New England. They was supposed to be one of the ones who was interested in DeAndre Hopkins. They didn't make the move. And then, Dalvin Cook was there, could have landed in their hands. They didn't make the move. They wanted to go with the cheaper version of him, Ezekiel Elliott. No disrespect, because if he come back healthy, who knows how he would do. But when you have Juju Smith-Schuster and Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry as some of your main weapons on the team, and no disrespect to Kendrick Bourne neither, because I know that he's definitely improved. But I still don't feel like they have that receiver that make me even scared of them, including Devontae Parker, because you know I'm a Patriots fan. But I just don't feel like they have anybody that makes me afraid, you know, if I'm basically on that team, especially if I'm a cornerback going against me. Let's be honest.
Right, and bottom line, Mac Jones, I see him as nothing more than a game manager at this point. I don't think he has the physical tools to be more than that.
Yes, sir.
All right, that being said, let us move on to what I think everybody's sleeping on. I think this division, not the AFC East, but the AFC North is going to actually be the toughest division in football this year. We got Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and I don't see, well, maybe the exception of Cleveland, any of those teams going under 500. What's your thoughts, Steve?
I have to agree with you on that. I definitely think that it's going to be like a 12-5 Bengals situation. And then right behind them will be a team that'll scare you, like, you know, you had them and the Ravens trying to go neck and neck, trying to, you know, jockey for position to be a number one in their division. And I have them going like an 11-6. But then after them, you know, I would probably put the Steelers like at 10-7, like a crazy, like squinched up division. But then having, you know, a 7-9 type season for, you know, Cleveland, which I still feel like could be better than last year.
I mean, bottom line for that division, y'all get your popcorn ready. It's going to be a lot of good games in that division, especially when Pittsburgh plays Baltimore and when Baltimore plays Cincinnati. Those games, you know, whether it's at home or away for each team, there's going to be some good games. The weather may definitely play a factor in some of that as well, considering, you know, where those teams are located. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that team beat up on each other this year. I think at least two of those teams end up making the playoffs out of that division. Would not surprise me if Cleveland could mess around and go 8-9, 9-8 if we can get the Deshaun Watson that we were accustomed to seeing in Texas. Because in the end, you got to remember, with the Texans, we didn't have the best team and still managed to make a playoff game or two there. I think there's a better personnel on this Cleveland squad. And if we can get him in full effect, he can make it very interesting for them. As far as Baltimore is concerned, my man Jackson got some of the best weapons he'd ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, he had an MVP season already at one point. He got better players now than he had then. The sky's the limit for Baltimore. Like I said, I'm very much looking forward to all the teams in that division playing.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to Zay Flowers playing, man, because, you know, to have him and to have Odell, you already got Odell, because, you know, when we seen that, people were talking crazy. They was talking out their rear end saying, oh, that don't still mean that, you know, Lamar going to come back. They hit him with the highest paid quarterback at the time. And he was excited to have Odell, man. So, you know, they was already working on some moves. Then they turned around and got him one of the fastest dudes in the draft, Zay Flowers. So, yeah, man. And then he still have Mark Andrews. And he going to have a hopefully healthy J.
Don't sleep on that dude Dobbins. Remember, all the running backs last year over in Baltimore were injured and out for the season. Now that they actually got legit running backs that's healthy, and Lamar Jackson basically bulked up a little bit and is back healthy, it could get ugly.
Agreed.
Oh, one more note on that division. Cincinnati, what the hell y'all doing? Get Joe his money. Get Joe his money. What the hell is the holdup? You know you got to pay that man. Pay him. Pay him now.
Like you said, they paid Justin Herbert. No disrespect, man. He came in looking like an NFL veteran. They already gave him his money, and you still looking at Joe Burrow, who's been in, two significant important games in, his career. He went to the Super Bowl and he went to the conference championship. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to do better than what y'all doing.
Right. Bottom line, I think Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL, not named Patrick Mahomes. Pay that dude his money.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, let's move forward. We got the AFC South. That's definitely the weaker division here in the AFC. We got Jacksonville, Tennessee, Houston, Indianapolis, I should say. Who you got here?
I got the Jags coming back out the division again, but they're going to be 11-6. Then following them, I have, of course, the Tennessee Titans. I have them at 10-7. The Colts is going to be last in the division for sure. I have them being hell. I only had them winning 4 games, honestly. I think they're going to only probably win 4 games. So like 4-13. And I'm missing somebody, Anna. Texans, I think they're going to be better this year, man. I have Texans at 7-11.
Now, see, some of y'all going to be like, is she smoking something with that 7-11? But I need y'all to understand something. Much like the year before with the Lions, the Texans had a lot of close games last year against a lot of good teams that if they had the better personnel, they could have won some of those games. Let us not forget that game closer in the season where they basically took the Chiefs to school and had to basically find a way to lose that game. They had won.
They should have beat Dallas week before, right, and they should have beat the week after.
And the NFL's version of the transfer portal, I think the Texans were the big winners this year. They did a lot of good upgrades. They remind me a lot of what the Jacksonville Jaguars did the year before, and did a lot of good free agents and making some quality picks. I still say the Lions won the draft, but the Texans definitely was second in terms of their pick and how well that pick was they're going to do. So I definitely look at a big improvement with the Texans, particularly as it gets later in the season. Because as Stroud gets to learn NFL and gets his feet wet and whatnot, I think he will be better as the year progresses. So I actually think I have them at 6-11 myself. As far as the rest, I got Indianapolis going 4-13 because I do believe the one thing they ain't got to worry about is quarterback. I do believe they have the quarterback for the future there with Richards. He's just going to need some time to grow and to have some things put around him because he ain't got much to work with at this point. And wouldn't it be nice if we get to that point and the Colts are on the clock and they pick that dude Marvin Harrison Jr. and he gets to play on the team that his father played for? Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be real crazy.
I can see it happening considering how it all going to play out. Like I said, if they don't need a quarterback, that's the next best thing. But, I definitely think they're going to have a long year this year. Tennessee, I want to pick them worse than what I did. I got them going 7-10. But I definitely think by the end of the season, there will definitely be a new quarterback in Tennessee. I can see them basically doing what the Colts did a couple of years ago when they had your boy Manny Ice, call it a career. I can see them doing that for Tannehill as well. I can see that happen. And Will Levis, I'm not really sold upon. So would not be surprised if they are going to be picking next year in the draft at quarterback as well. But I definitely think Jacksonville is the cream of the crop in that division. I also have them going 12-5 because I think they're on a very similar plane to my Detroit Lions in terms of growth and ability and whatnot. I think they, like I said, when you saw them play in the preseason, you saw it was a lot of similarities on both of those squads in terms of how they do deals offensively, so on and so forth. So would not be surprised to see them back in the playoffs and probably do just as good as they did last season. All right. That being said, that leads us down to one last little division here in the AFC. That would be, of course, the Wild Wild West, where we got KC, the Chargers, Denver, and of course those Raiders. Who you got here?
Man, I have Kansas City going in the 12-5 too this year. I just think like there's going to be too many injuries. Speaking of, it was an injury just recently that happened with Travis Kelce. There's a possibility he's out for game one. He's probable. So I believe those injuries are going to start racking up, and I still feel like they got enough talent over there to win. To win 12 games and lose 5. Got to do something with Chris Jones, though. Next in that division, I actually have a surpriser team, and it ain't gonna be no surprise Buckeye surprise. Like to make you shocked again. I actually feel like it's gonna be 10-7 with the Chargers. But then moving on, I feel like the Raiders are going to be 7-11, and I feel like after the Raiders, I'm missing somebody too, Anna. Broncos. I still feel like the Denver Broncos going to do well. But I still feel like they might be stuck in like a season where they're going to be 7-11 too. I feel like they're going to do better, but I still don't feel like they're going to be great. I think at first I was thinking of one of them teams being the shocker team to be in like number 2 in that division and going like a 10-7, but I just don't see it quite yet. They still having problems with Jerry Jeudy, and it's going to be probably people by the trade deadline with their record going to get willed to deal. So, yeah, I don't really think that they're going to be too much better than what they was last year. I give them a 2 extra win, season, and hopefully that Sean Payton can pick up momentum from then, because this technically is not Sean Payton's team, and that's what people got to remember. And once he get in there in a year and then start to see and kind of putting people in the trials and tribulations and test to see who they have, they have to start getting rid of some of them people and bringing some of his people in.
Okay, I agree with you. Kansas City definitely winning that division. I actually got them having the best record in the NFL this year at 14-3. The caveat that I must put on it is the caveat anybody would put on it. That's assuming that Jones gets signed sooner than later and that Patrick Mahomes is healthy throughout the season. There's certain teams, if they lose that one person, it's a whole different ball game. And I think no other team in the NFL that is more true than with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the reason why Mahomes is the MVP and could argue do it back-to-back because he changes the game. He is the modern-day equivalent to what Steph Curry is in the NBA. He is become the prototype to which we want our quarterbacks to do now. Quick, elusive, all type of arm angles, all type of different throws, basically making you think constantly on the defensive end. That's Patrick Mahomes in a nutshell. I know people say, well, the enemy is gone as a coordinator. Come on, people. You do know Jimmy Reed had much more to do with that offense than Eric Bieniemy ever did, okay? No disrespect to Eric Bieniemy, but we already know that the major decisions on that squad when it came to the offense was being made by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, okay? Plain and simple. So that being said, I definitely see them winning that division. Denver, I'm having a real hard time with what they may or may not do. I really want to believe that our boy Russell gonna actually cook this year. Not
I hope he
Russell, but definitely not gonna give us that Russell that we had last year. He in better shape. He got a much better coach. I can't see him in that bad of a season. That being said, injuries is already starting to bother that team a little bit. They say Judy is questionable for this week. Not so good for my fantasy. But, I think I actually gave Denver 7-10, but it's some big question marks with that 7-10. As far as the Raiders, here's what I think could potentially happen. I say we get 4 games into the season. The Raiders are 0-4 at that point. At that point, I think we get NBA tank mode for the Raiders. And anybody from Hunter Renfrow, Crosby, any of the people that's halfway decent on that squad is up for bid at that point. I think at that point, we start to work toward a complete and total makeover from coach on down. So, yeah, McDaniels, I'm talking about that. I think at that point, they tank it. They fire him early. They basically start waiting for the end of the college football season, and they buy a house for Caleb Williams in Vegas, and they basically have him use it as an Airbnb until the end of the season, and then they start to let him know that, yeah, you're going to be the number 1 pick. Here's some people you can work with. We'll see you in Detroit on April 1st.
Pretty sad, too, because you would like to see Josh McDaniels improve from what he did when he was first a coach. He already had controversy stepping in. You get rid of the best football player on their team, or you get rid of their quarterback, and then you put in Kyle Orton. I think that's going to help you. And right. He was winning some games, don't be wrong, but then when you looked at it like he was just the placeholder for Tim Tebow. You got Tim Tebow in the first round, man, that showed a lot, man. You know, I said, man, this guy's crazy. And I feel like a lot of the ways he handled things, he tried to handle things the Patriots way when he's not with Belichick. And hell, that's not even working for him right now. So, yeah, I wouldn't
have we not learned that the Patriots way only works for the Patriots? Any other person that came from that Belichick tree and been a head coach has not fared well in the National Football League long term.
Funny thing too, though, Jay Cutler didn't really work out like we thought he would. Though we thought that he was going to be that guy, and when he went to Chicago, I said, "Man, that's huge for Chicago." It didn't go as well as we thought it was.
And then did he not end up getting replaced by the same person that he replaced in Denver, Mr. Orton?
Ain't that funny how that works out?
Indeed. That being said, y'all, that is what we got in terms of the divisions. Okay, let's go and skip straight to the playoffs. And we might as well just go ahead, call it right out. Who we got going to the Super Bowl, you in the AFC and NFC?
Man, surprising enough, I got San Fran this year going. But disrespect Jalen Hurts. You know I love them, man. You know I love my Alabama Ties, but I still feel like they'll have enough this year to actually get them there. And then it's a little hard. It's not really that hard. I think that Kansas City will go back. You know, I think they'll go back to back this year. But then I just think the San Fran is ready. That's funny too, because I believe that would be a possible rematch too.
Right. That being said, I'm looking at the rematch straight up. I think once again we get Kansas City and Philadelphia in this year's Super Bowl. And I think we get the same result as last year's Super Bowl, with Kansas City winning and actually going back to back. We got to remember, people, yeah, Hurts played pretty good in that game, and he was, not 100%, but remember, Mahomes was worse off than he was. Mahomes definitely wasn't 100%. He actually even got hurt more in that game, but still had enough gumption to pull out the win. So if you got 100% Patrick Mahomes in this year's Super Bowl, yeah, it could get ugly.
Yeah, because they both, but they look good.
But I am indeed, Sam, going with them Chiefs again. All right, y'all. So that is our picks for the 2023-2024 season. We're going to take a small break. When we come back on the Guru section, we're going to talk about the 5 impact players who got this year in NFL and give you our choices for most improved and MVP and defensive MVP. But first, these words from the Nighthawk Network. Hold on. Here it is. No, that ain't it. Hold on, please. This again is the Guru's football session. I am E-Buck. This is Big Buck Sports Report, and this is the commercial we need right now. Get out. Have you been scrolling Facebook and looking for that quick sports fix? Want a quick peek of what's going on in the latest sports news? Check out Pure to the Game Sports Blog with the sports guru, QD Lee. He'll get you together. Check it out. Follow it on Facebook. Make sure you like it. All right, y'all, we are back. This is the Guru's football session. We are talking NFL as we get ready for the week 1 games of the season. But we are first talking about the season in general before we get it started. I have tasked my man Hugh Lee to pick 5 people who you think will be the most impactful players in this NFL season. Who you got, Hugh?
The most 5 impactful players that I have is going to surprise a lot of people, man, because I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have a healthy George Kittle because everybody give credit to, and you should give credit to Kelsey, man, because Kelsey's that dude. But when it's like a healthy George Kittle, man, I think he has all assets of the game, and I believe if he stay healthy, he will definitely be that impact player. Another impact player is a person who the blast on the pass. I got 2 throwback players on here for you, man. They're not that throwback, but Odell Beckham Jr. I think he's really going to help over there in Baltimore, man. I'm just praying that brother can stay healthy. And take a guess who you think my second throwback player is, E?
My guess is he plays for Buffalo.
Calvin Ridley. Because I feel like him having to be off of that time, have you seen how hungry he was when they was in training camp and preseason? That dude's hungry, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he do. And then I have to hit you up with a defensive player. And I feel like if he wasn't injured last year, he definitely would have probably won the most or defensive player of the year. And I'm going to go with TJ Watt.
I definitely like that T.J. Watt pick. That is an excellent call on that. I like the Odell. Actually, that was one of my 5, but I'm going to change it up just for the sake of being different. My 5 players to watch, 5 impactful players. First and foremost, I got to go Brock Purdy. The whole key to San Francisco season is how well he will play quarterback. If basically there is a regression, a sophomore jinx, so to speak, with Brock Purdy, San Fran is in trouble, and moves going to have to be made immediately. And I do believe they will be. Do not be surprised if San Francisco gets off to a bad start. They trade for a quarterback right then and right there, much like they did last year. All right. The second impactful player you definitely need to keep an eye on, people, obviously, is Aaron Rodgers over there with the Jets. Everybody thinks that all the Jets was missing last year was a good quality quarterback to lead them those few extra games that they should have won to get to the playoffs. They do have that quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers should be healthy. He was not fully healthy last year. Bottom line, what type of leader is Aaron Rodgers outside of Green Bay's walls? We shall see. The third impactful player I think you definitely need to keep an eye on this season in terms of what he will bring to the table is that man for the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all know him. Y'all love him. They call him Little LT. They call him the man that makes things happen. he is that guy on that Dallas defense, he must get to the quarterback. He must get sack after sack after sack. Because if he is able to do that, the Cowboys are definitely going to be in the mix. And as you know, I still have to say that the Cowboys are America's team because no matter where you go in this world, whether it be Detroit or wherever you may be at right now, you will find somebody walking around with that star jersey on their back. Them Cowboys, they love them doggone Cowboys, okay? They love them. And they want them to win. And bottom line is Dak is not going to be the man to get them there. It's going to have to be that defense that makes it happen. And the man in the middle, the linebacker with all the answers, he is going to have to be the one to make it happen for those Cowboys. That's number 3. Number 4 impactful player this year, one, Jared Goff. I know that's a surprise, huh, you? But yes, he is the key to the Lions doing anything now or in the future. Because in the end, Lions have a good decision to make this year. They need to know if Goff is going to be that man moving forward, or if the missing piece to the rest of the puzzle is another quarterback. They are pretty much set up well defensively. The offense should be much better this year. Better weapons in running game, better weapons at wide receiver, especially once Williams get back from suspension. They should be looking good there. Defense definitely got to be better than last year's defense. That's the reason why the Lions didn't make the playoffs. So that being said, Jared Goff got to show and prove this year. He got to go into this thing like this is my contract year for the rest of my NFL career. I got to show you the best possible Jared Goff that I got. If he does that, the Lions will make the playoffs, and they'll make a little noise when they get there. If he is not able to do that, the Lions will get whatever picks they need together. They will trade up, and they will get one of those top quarterbacks next year. That is my word. And I would say the 5th most impactful player this year is going to have to be Justin Fields. Justin Fields is basically the quarterback that most teams are looking for now. Big guy, strong arm, quick feet. A lot of these guys coming out in the draft, similar body types and similar skills. The question is what's going on up here? Because that's what the key is to being a great quarterback in this NFL. Everybody has that set now. Once upon a time, Michael Vick was an anomaly. Everybody got Michael Vick type skills now in the NFL these days, including Justin Fields. So in the end, he has to show that he is able to be a true NFL quarterback. It doesn't necessarily mean that the Bears are going to be playoff contenders or anything, but he definitely has to show that, yeah, I'm capable of playing on this level, and that you guys got a quarterback. Y'all just need to find everything else. So those are my 5 impactful players for the season. That being said, let us move on to who we got for MVP. Who you think will be MVP this year, Hugh?
And both divisions.
No, just MVP straight up.
Oh, the MVP? I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Mahomes win it again.
Bottom line, Mahomes pretty much is on that Jordan level in terms of NFL right now. What I basically mean is every year when MVP come up, his name is going to be one of them top 3 off rip because he's Patrick Mahomes and he does what he does. So you'd be hard pressed not to pick him as MVP. That being said, I'm going to go with him, but I will pick my second possible choice. And
Burrow?
I think it's definitely going to be one of those. I think
I wouldn't be surprised neither. Or either Burrow.
And I think one of them two going to win. A lot of people sleeper pick with that dude Jackson, though. What you think of that, Hugh?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, man, because like you said, he got the weapons he need. He's going to have a healthy, running back core. The defense, the only thing that kind of scares me on that team, because I don't really know nothing really about them, But besides Patrick Queen, I don't really know too much about those other guys, man. The gentleman that just came from Chicago too. What's his name? I'm tripping because he was on the tip of my tongue. But they still have him over there, if I'm not mistaken. I'll catch his name later. But Roquan Smith. Yeah, they still have him over there, So I wouldn't be surprised with that. But I still feel like they don't really have nothing else that really scares me right now. I mean, because Marlon Humphrey, I think he's injured, and you don't really have a lot of guys who's over there to really scare me on the defense. Offense, it's a different story. But yeah, I still feel like he has enough weapons now to where he'll still be dangerous on the ground or even passing the ball. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that neither.
All right, how about most improved player here? Who you think?
I just about to hit you with that too. I got 5 people for you. They could possibly be the most improved player. Brandon Ayuk, and a lot of people sleep on him and San Francisco because you do have, Deebo Samuels, but I'm gonna go with Brandon Ayuk, Jahan Dotson for Washington, Jahmyr Gibbs. Surprising one, I'm going to give you a rookie on Washington who I think is going to play well for them too, and that's Emmanuel Ford, the cornerback. But the other guy on this list is somebody that people don't really know yet, but I just been looking at the training camp and looking at preseason games and seeing how good he's been playing. I'm going to go with Kansas City's wide receiver, and I want y'all to watch out for him. If y'all got one of these PPR drafts or just a straight up draft, if you need a wide receiver in, and especially if you got Patrick Mahomes can get other pieces to the puzzle, I would go with Scott Moore because I think he's going to be a slick player too as well.
I like that pick. I definitely think Gibbs is going to be the offensive rookie of the year. I would give him that much. Would not be surprised if we also have the defensive rookie of the year with Young Grant coming out of Alabama. That's the safety on the squad.
Yeah.
So, that being said, I think my most improved player that I'm looking for, it got to be that dude Odell Beckham Jr., man. If he can stay healthy all year, I think he's going to put up some big numbers in Baltimore because he's definitely going to be the go-to guy when it comes down to it. So that's who I got. And that being said, we are going to wrap it up for our NFL preview. But before we do that, here's the thing, people. We really, really, really appreciate y'all watching the show and keeping up with us and all of that. My dude Hugh, this is not the only thing he is going to be doing this season. It's not the only thing he's been doing for that matter. He is going to tell you now all the other places where you can find information that he's putting out there for you, where you can find his takes on stuff. He's about to give you all the information. And please, please, please make sure you follow him. Make sure you like and subscribe to all the places where you can find the Sports Guru. Go ahead, Hugh.
Appreciate that, E, man. It's funny now, man, and I'm so blessed, bro. I seen that 169 on the Pure to the Game, man. I'm at 1,410 people now and still counting, man. I've been having issues, and me and Facebook been beefing a little bit when it comes to the reels and certain things, man. We trying to straighten that out right now, but I just appreciate them reels, real people in, no pun intended, and they start listening to the information and the things that I put out there. And not only now is the people just enjoying the reels that I did have, they're enjoying a lot of the news and the things that I've been distributing and putting out there. And check that out. It's on Facebook, you guys, Pure to the Game. And then following that too, I have my own radio podcast too, called The Guru Perspective, man. And once a week, I'll jump on there and I'll give my perspective when it comes to anything that's going on right now, like the NFL, MLB, NCAA football. I've just been really trying to put my 2 cents into things and telling it from my point of view. And I definitely just started this venture, and I appreciate you guys, go on there and give me a listen, subscribe. And I appreciate the people who has been listening and staying attentive. And thank you for, everybody who, showing love on my pages, man. And I've been definitely listening to E more. I got to put it out there and distribute it more. I've been putting it out on the page, sharing it with different people and venues, and just trying to get it to the point where I can reach the goal that I would like as well. But this is a new venture for me, like I said, and I appreciate the people who's already attending. And if you haven't listened yet, man, I'm on Spotify and Google Perspective. Thanks once again. Appreciate that, E.
Absolutely. You already know, I want us all to win, bro. We all trying to eat out here, so I most definitely want people to follow you and support you. And there you have it, the Guru Sports Perspective for the week. He will definitely be a part of the show moving forward. We will have the pre-recorded part of the show on the Guru's football session every week, where we'll talk about some of the top games in the NFL and some other sports as well going forward. So thank you, Hugh, for your contribution in regards to that. And again, as he mentioned, please follow him in his other endeavors, whether it is the thing we call Pure to the Game. You can find that, of course, on the Facebook under the Pure to the Game personal blog. You may also check out his new podcast, which is called The Guru's Perspective, where he talks about different aspects of sports that he may not address in his football session. You can find that on Spotify and hopefully in other places in the weeks to come. That is Hugh Lee, Guru's Perspective. Please check it out. We, of course, have been posting that in our storylines, so you may be able to find the link that way also. In the meanwhile, we are here on the Big Buck Sports Report. We have talked NFL. First game of the season is tomorrow. Go Lions! Interesting thing now that Travis Kelce, who was reported having injured his knee a couple days ago, possibility that he may not go tomorrow. He may not go for several weeks. In fact, they still are trying to understand the extent of that injury, and I think that is definitely going to be a major blow for Kansas City, whether short-term or long-term, and that may actually cost them the right to go back to challenge for the Super Bowl. Or we may actually learn just how good Patrick Mahomes really is if he has to go this season without Travis Kelce, much like he had to go last season without Cheetah and still manage to win. Could he possibly pull it off? We shall see. In the meanwhile, we got to talk about college football, y'all. It was a very interesting weekend of college football. Not that most of the games were not blowouts, because most of them were, particularly when you had that Power 5 team play some of the lesser teams or the FCS schools. Yeah, it was a lot of lopsided scores, particularly when we look at some of those Pac-12 teams. Pac-12 went at a remarkable 13-0 last week. That is the first time that all of the teams in the Pac-12 won in the first week since 1932. Again, 1932. That is quite a statistic. And of those 13 teams in the Pac-12 last week that won, none of them have been talked about more in the last 72 to 96 hours than the team that played in Colorado, the Colorado Buffaloes, led, of course, by the man himself, primetime Deion Sanders, who managed to somehow take a team that was 1-11 last year, the team with the worst record of any of the Power 5 conference teams in all of these United States. A team that lost by an average of 29 points per game last year. Just ridiculously bad, okay? He took that team, got 86 new players on that squad, okay? 86. Unheard of, unmatched, not done by any other program in America ever. Only 10 scholarship players from last year's Colorado Buffaloes team remain on that team, and I believe only 3 of them are starters. That being said, he took that team, that brand new spanking team, and went into TCU. TCU, the team that went to the national championship game last year. Team that was ranked 17th and beat The 17th ranked TCU Horned Frogs at TCU. Very, very, very strong win. Clearly the best game of the college football season thus far. Now, of course, there were other upsets in week 1. You had Florida State beat LSU. That was kind of a shock. A lot of people had LSU going to the championship. You might. And also you had Duke upsetting Clemson. Clemson not looking like the team that they have this last decade. The team of the Deshaun Watsons, of the Trevor Lawrences of the world. Not looking like those squads at all. That being said, the team that definitely showed out the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, granted, some people had issue with some of the things that Deion Sanders had to say afterwards in his post-press conference, particularly as it pertains to race and how that is perceived. Me, myself, as a person of color, I understand where a lot of that talk from Deion came from, not to mention the fact that Deion, he is that dude. How he talks in the press conference is how he talks on television, is how he talks to his friends, is how he talks in real life. And some people feel it to be somewhat braggadocious and slightly arrogant and whatnot. Bottom line is, you've seen Deion Sanders' career, have you not? He walked it like he talked it. He is that same person as a head coach. And he has got his players to definitely buy in thus far in the season. That being said, good people, for those of you who saw that game and have listened to all the hype and now starting to think that Colorado to have championship aspirations and all that, slow down, good people. Understand that as crazy as it is, this may be one of the best seasons of Pac-12 football ever in terms of what teams and what talent those teams have. Now, the crazy part about that fact is the fact that this is, for all intents and purposes, the final year of the Pac-12. At least as we know it, because as you know, after this year, you got teams going somewhere everywhere. You got that Colorado team slated to go into the Big 12 next season. You got UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington going to the Big 10. You got Arizona, and I forget some of the other teams. I'm sorry, I apologize, y'all. But several of those teams going to the SEC next season. So outside of Washington State and Oregon State, pretty much everybody else has been divvied up. You got teams going to the ACC when you look at Stanford and Cal. So if you are Pac-12 fans, enjoy, because this is the swan song. But that being said, I think it's going to be a hell of a ride. Everybody just assumed that USC was going to be the cream of the crop in the Pac-12, and they still may be. But it's a lot of good teams that they're going to have to face during the season. Colorado apparently will be one of them, as they do play each other a little bit later on in the season. So that being said, remember, Colorado last year 1-11. 1-11. So anything that they win from this point on is an improvement on last year. Hell, they just stay in the rest of the games and don't even win another game, highly unlikely. It still will be an improvement over last year when they were just absolutely and totally abysmal. Understand that this week's game of the week that many people will be watching will not just be that Texas-Alabama game. It will also be the Saturday noon game with Colorado in Colorado after that monstrous win against Nebraska. Now, understand Nebraska is not the Nebraska of old, the championship Nebraska that we used to. They are also in rebuilding mode over there with Coach Rule and what he got done. They kind of, sort of, almost won last week against Minnesota, but truthfully, they didn't look great at times. Minnesota didn't either. Minnesota had better defense, though. And that being said, hard-pressed to see them beating Colorado in Colorado this week, especially with all that momentum going on, especially with what we've seen from Shedeur Sanders Deion's son, who plays quarterback for Colorado, and of course that kid Travis. If you don't know him, you soon will, because he is the sensation of college football right now. The two-way player who plays wide receiver and cornerback for the Colorado Buffaloes. Definitely looking for him to have another big game against Nebraska this week. I'm picking Colorado to win that game, but would not be surprised if they manage to lose. Not that Colorado is not good. I mean, apparently a lot of y'all thought so. They went all the way from being the worst Power 5 team in football last year to being ranked in the top 25 this week at number 22. Imagine what happens if they go into Colorado and whoop up on Nebraska and beat them by a nice number. I would safely assume they'll be maybe in the top 15 next week if that happens. So I'm very curious to see what happens then. And of course, I think there are already that section of people that are looking forward to Deion not doing well so they can talk their stuff after he talked his stuff last week. Trust me, Deion will be prepared to deal with it either way. And that team will as well. I wish them nothing but luck. I'm hoping that at the worst this season, they at least become bowl eligible and make it to a bowl. I think if they get them 6 wins, it's pretty much a done deal. There will be bowls basically lining up trying to get Deion in their bowl game. So yeah, college football definitely looking good so far this year. Looking forward to week 2. Before we head out, we're going to talk a little tennis, okay? U.S. Open, of course, is going on. We are into the championship week of U.S. Open. We are pretty much headed towards the semifinals of both the men's and the women's bracket. And in look at those brackets, you see quite a few Americans have made it to the semifinals. Unlike in most years where if your name ain't Serena Williams, you have not looked well in the U.S. Open getting to this point. A lot of Americans not doing quite so well in the last decade, U.S. Open-wise, so it is definitely good for the sport, particularly here in the United States, that we have people such as Coco Gauff and Mr. Shelton on the men's side that are doing well and have the possibility of making it to the finals and actually winning the U.S. Open. I'm definitely cheering for my girl Coco. Y'all know I've been following her since pretty much the beginning. And hope that she does well. There's Miss Coco right there, 19-year-old tennis sensation Coco Gauff. And I hope that she is indeed successful in winning her first Grand Slam tournament. Good luck to her, Mr. Shelton, and to all the others. So that being said, we will definitely let you know what happens with that next week, along with what went on in week 1 of the NFL season, week 2, unofficially, of the college football season, and all other sports. Of course, the WNBA playoffs start. We'll talk about that. And we'll get into anything else you want to talk about sports-wise. So until next week, people, we are looking forward to talking to y'all. Thank everybody for tuning in and checking out the show, whether you checked it out live or you're checking it out on the rebroadcast for a few. We appreciate you. Please like and subscribe, if you would, to the Facebook and YouTube page. We appreciate that as well. We are going to have no outro because we still have not finished the production of that yet, but we've got a little something that we will play on out the door. We'll do that, and we will catch you guys next week on this, the Big Buck Sports Report. So let me go ahead and turn that up for y'all. One of the newest Buck beats right there. I'm going to bring the board. Y'all.